Craig the Cowboy talking all about Donald Trump and those in the Republican Party, some with deep pockets who are not yet ready to board the Trump train.
Yeah, they're all waiting at the station hoping that they want to make sure the train's going to get there. They're a little hesitant, but they'll come around. I mean, all this talk right now, this is the worst time in a campaign, when both nominations are settled, and now you got this back and forth until the conventions. Once the conventions are over, everybody's going to put their weight behind it, and they're going to move forward. So this is all a lot of nonsense right now.
Well, Mitt Romney had a confab in Utah a few days ago, and some of the big donors, including Meg Whitman, who ran unsuccessfully for governor of California some years back, gave us Jerry Brown Part 3. She said, I'm not going to spend any money on Donald Trump, and she's got deep pockets, and others are saying the same thing. They're going to want to fund some of the under races.
When I hear Meg Whitman talk like that, this is a woman who ran the worst campaign in the history of campaigns, $150 million for nothing. And she has no clue. Here you got a bunch of elitists talking about an election when the people are going to vote, and the people seem to like Donald Trump at this point. These guys, the thing I can't figure out is, do they really think that if Trump gets beaten, that the bumpkins are all of a sudden going to come back to the Romneys of the world and say, oh, save us, oh, save us. No, they're going to say, you guys didn't lift a finger to help. We hate you too.
The phoenix will not rise from the ashes.
No, not at all. It's going to get worse. And so when I hear all this hoi polloi, they're going to talk and they're hand-wringing and everything else, my goodness, stop all the BS and get behind the wheel.
Now, Patrick Dorrington, for those of you who may not know, was a political fundraiser, big-time political fundraiser, raising money for, well, one successful president. We won't name him because you'll think Patrick is a fraud. Oh, Clinton.
No, he's a liar.
Seriously, he's been around the league when it comes to fundraising. They say you need $1 billion to run for president. Trump, people are saying we're not going to raise that now. We're going to need help from the party. Is the party going to pitch in, number one? And number two, how serious a problem is this?
I don't think it's as serious a problem as everybody's making it out to be. First of all, Hillary Clinton supposedly has a staff of 830 people. 830 people. So every hanger-on in Washington and all around the country is shoving position papers and everything else of how you're going to run the administration.
So all the money that she's got now, that war chest, isn't just for TV commercials against Donald Trump.
Yeah,
She's got to meet payroll.
She has to pay an army. And you know something? In this day and age, with the internet as mature as it is, with social media and everything else, and DVR technology and people who binge watch television, when I hear her going to spend all this money on TV, I'm thinking, who's going to watch?
Well, the thing about political ads is once you see it and it makes an impact, it's kind of over. Either you get it or you don't get it. So if she can bombard the airways, people are just going to, like you say, they're DVRing a program or binge watching, they're going to fast forward right through it.
And the other thing, too, is I'm wondering, this is the kind of election where people who are for Trump are for him. People who are for Hillary are for. It's that person in the middle that you're trying to go after. And it's very hard to dissect in how you're going to go after that person. I just think TV ads are worthless. Look what happens nowadays. Somebody puts an internet ad together, and they get it on social media, and they know 2 million people saw it. They don't have to go to the Nielsen people and say, so how many people saw it? Well, we piped it into your house at 8 o'clock at night, and we think this many people watched it. With the internet, you know.
As of right now, mid-June, the polls, so Hillary Clinton's got about a 6 percentage point lead over Donald Trump, which really means nothing because it's summertime or the eve of summertime. People are thinking about vacations. People are thinking about what happened in Orlando. There are graduations, Father's Day, whatever. So it doesn't really mean a lot. But if you do want to take it, Trump is within striking distance is one way to look at it. Hillary is not running away with it is another way to look at it. Now, things are going to tighten up a little bit probably after the conventions. That usually whets everybody's appetite. Mm-hmm. By the way, we'll be at the Republican convention and bringing you reports in July. But, where do we go from here? I mean, Hillary Clinton's got the FBI thing hanging over her head. Trump's got, the crass guy. Some people can't support him because of his, his pomposity, his alleged racism. But talking about alleged racism, he's doing something very smart. He has hooked onto these two African-American women, Diamond and Silk. Maybe you've seen them. You can see them on YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube.
Yeah.
And there are black ministers coming out for Trump. He is suddenly courting a vote that Republicans don't normally court. And he doesn't need a lot more of those black votes to beat Hillary Clinton, maybe another, what, 6 or 10% more?
Right, exactly. And the other thing is, he gave a speech at the Faith and Freedom Conference, and the national mainstream media was talking about something completely different. Remember, we talked about this the other day. In that speech, there was a paragraph, and it was the most important paragraph in the speech because he said, you know something? Black Americans are getting hosed. He says, Democrats run the big cities, Democrats run the big city councils, Democrats run all this stuff, and basically what have you gotten for
Flint.
it? Yeah, Flint, Michigan, Detroit, Cleveland, Oakland. Look at all these cities that are absolute disasters. And I think he's going to be in a unique position to walk into black churches and say, I love you, this is great, you know, and you people are getting screwed. The Democrats have no answer for that. They're going to come back with, well, we got all these programs, and some of these, you know, black leaders like Diamond and Silk, and I consider them leaders, are going to say, what do you mean? What do we got to show for it? Nothing. So maybe this is, you know, he's the unique guy. That's why everybody trying to nail him down on this and nail him down on that. He's unique. He might go to places Republicans have never been, and guess what? He might be a pathfinder, win or lose.
And I think that within the black community, I think that there is a lot of pride that Barack Obama was elected not once, but not twice. But I think deep in the hearts of some, they're disappointed in the last 8 years. They haven't gained ground.
Yeah, and I think also the one thing about Donald Trump is Republicans, when they talk about minorities, they talk about minorities like blacks and Latinos as if they're a country club who's been told they have to have minority members. So they form an outreach committee of a bunch of guys in blue blazers and gold buttons on them and say, well, you know, let's have an outreach program to those black people. How do we talk to them?
It's like a little Section 8 housing in a nice development.
Instead of a guy who's from New York who says, hey, Larry, I like you. How you doing? You know, who says hello to the guy who's the doorman, who worked on construction sites. He can talk their language, and no other Republican can.
That's going to be interesting. We'll be following it for you. And again, we will be at the Republican National Convention in the middle of July here on the LibertyPlaybook.com.